Movie Notes on the Blind Side, 2009 film, 30 January 2025 viewing. Today is Thursday, 30 January 2025. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. I'm going to talk through my movie notes for this viewing of the 2009 film The Blind Side, which is a biographical film about a youth, Michael Oher, finding a home in American football and a home with a family other than his birth family. Yes. So, I have covered this movie on this channel before, back in 2024, October 2024, so I'm coming around and back to it, and it is very centric on the scholastic sports kind of development part of his career, and it does include through the 2009 NFL draft and him signing with the number 1 for the Baltimore Ravens. But the majority of the film is actually him playing scholastic for the Wingate Crusaders. And his age does matter in the story because before he turns 18, I think, the family that he finds a home with adopts him legally. So yes, age matters, because then once a person's an adult, I don't actually know if you can adopt them, but not adopt them, but they became the legal guardians. Okay, so there we go. So yes, so they did a really great job in synchronizing this film and releasing it, because they actually include footage of the real guy in the real 2009 NFL draft. So in that sense, that's pretty. And this film was released in 2009. So I remember seeing this back when I think we even saw this one in theaters, actually, if I'm recalling correctly. Me and my parents. And yeah, I remember being like, wow, that's for biography / autobiography. Biography. That's pretty good from my perspective. And so there we go, a little bit. So it has the scholastic as well as the NFL. It also has the collegiate recruitment process. So it does a good job on kind of providing some understanding of like the transitional structure there, from high school to collegiate competition. And if I had to classify this story as like, what term would I use to like classify this story? It is a self-acceptance story, not just for the main character, but for kind of the main character and then all of the people in the person's life, where they all kind of like, just by virtue of the circumstances and that kind of thing, they all have to come to terms with who they are and accept who they are. And like, we can as individuals be presented with those situations every day of life, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're mature enough to accept what we are at the time. And so this is a case of where it is a self-acceptance story, because they choose to accept their self. Right. More depth. Okay, so in my description of this movie for this viewing, I used the term home, which is one way, what is one way I know that is so. So based on the content of the movie, can I provide an example of how I know that he is about finding home as opposed to something else? When the family meets Michael or / pick him up after a Thanksgiving play when he is walking home, in the car, they talk in the vehicle, SUV. In the vehicle, they talk about the kid who was the chief in the play. The kid, they're coming back as the parents, and they have their son SJ, and they see Michael Oher walking down the street, and they're like, let's give him a ride and we'll let him stay with us for the night. And so they are talking about SJ being in the Thanksgiving play, and so they're talking about the kid who was the chief in the play, who was Chinese, and they're like, well, you're Irish, and okay, and so there we go. And in my life experience, there are a fair number of people who would have used that first experience / interaction to make their selection on rise angle, meaning they would have chosen the Kansas City Chiefs as their dream NFL team. Michael Oher instead went with the Baltimore Ravens. He was after a home, not a flashy title that he could sell out on through a first-time angled unique experience. Yes, so if he had wanted to sell out and get all the flashy glam and all the press and stuff, he would have been like, well, when I met my legal guardian parents, the first time I met them, and I rode home with them when they talked about the Chiefs, so selling out for the Kansas City Chiefs. No, he actually put thought and heart into his decision and went with the Baltimore Ravens. So that's why I said he found a home. Whoa, if he hadn't interpreted the movie like that before. I did. But I was like, I'll bring it up this time. Okay, so there we go. And then here's 2 more takeaways before we part ways. So if Russell Wilson shares me with fellow Seahawks of African descent, and Michael Oher becomes a Seahawk and satisfies Russell's additional criteria for sharing me, then do Michael Oher and I canoodle. When I was little, the global population was closer to 6.7 billion human beings. As of when this video was filmed on Thursday, 30 January 2025, the global population was over 8 billion human beings. About 2 billion more babies in my lifetime is a reminder reproducing is quite common. Perhaps the parents of those little ones, those little human beings, want more people as alive at the time witnesses to me losing my virginity. Yes, I am still a virgin at over 31.87 years of age. Yes, so essentially people are reproducing so that their kids will be alive when I lose my virginity. So it's pretty good. I'm working on my law-abiding citizen logic. I thought that was a pretty good one. Okay. So that's going to be Russell Wilson then? It's a sealed deal? He's like, I even went and played for the Broncos, so that way when people learned about you getting molested in a sorority, be like, yeah, that's right, because I ride her. We're going to conquer that together, babe. So there we go. And then my last note on the movie. In this movie, there's a iconic scene about a woman, the mom stands up for herself and how she carries a gun in her purse. And she's like, yeah, I do. And it shoots every day of the week, just as well. Because they call it a Sunday special or something like that. I was like, okay, was the handgun referred to that the mom carried named Pearl? Did she, like the real person, did she name her handgun Pearl? So there we go. It's food for thought. So my movie notes on The Blind Side, 2009 film, 30 January 2025. I'm kidding.